Hi there. If you know me, you know that I have always been very fascinated slash obsessed with probably personality profiling systems. I just remember when I was a kid, that was back in the 60s, and I was always asking my mom, why are we different? I mean, maybe I only asked her one time, but you know how you always say, like, I was always doing this one thing, and you probably did it once. Anyway, so I asked my mom, why are we different? Why are you like you are, and I'm like I am? And why is everybody different? And I think that's interesting because as a little kid, we've most recently been on the other side because we're all eternal beings, right? So we were somewhere else before we were here, and we're going back to that somewhere else when we're done here, and then we'll be back. As far as I'm concerned, and from everything I've read and learned and have come to believe, that's what that's what happens. So I'm most recently from the other side where we're all one. This is my theory. We're all one. And the one is God, the universe, source energy, the creator, all that is, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. Source energy. I mean, it's what it is. So, so I know that we're all like individual souls that make up the whole, the one. So anyway, as individual souls, here we come. And so here I am, this little soul on earth, not like I don't understand why we're all different now. Why are we all different now? We were all the same before, somehow. I mean, I don't know. It's a theory. So I asked my mom, why are we all different? And she says, well, honey, nobody knows that. And I said, well, they better figure it out because I need to know. That was my memory of it. Who knows what really happened? So back then, there really wasn't anything like personality profiling systems, other than I know that Carl Jung uh, come up with the theory that there's introverts, extroverts, and ambiverts, people that are just kind of right in the center. And I'm an ambivert. So that means sometimes I'm an extrovert, sometimes I'm an introvert. And I kind of waft back and forth. Anyway, so I know there was that, but I didn't know that back then. So the first inkling that I had of anybody explaining that whole why we're different question was um, in church, and I was in probably mid 30s, and they did this family zoo uh, little course, video course thing, and there were four of them, and there was, and actually, I think the ancient Greeks, they had like sanguine, phlegmatic, choleric, and melancholy. Okay, so those are four. All right, um, so I just didn't know. I didn't know where to look. I didn't know how to find out. Anyway, so there's always been kind of like four personality types. Well, anyway, so then Myers Briggs is a thing, and she kind of was a little bit of a spin off from Carl Jung, um, Jung, Jung. And so she did, and there's 16 personality types. Well, anyway, oh yeah, back to the church thing. So it was a family zoo thing, and there was otter, lion, golden retriever, and beaver. So as you might imagine, the beaver was very meticulous, and everything had to be like precise and right and organized and tidy and labeled and all those things. Very meticulous. The otter was the opposite. The otter was playful and happy-go-lucky and talkative and never on time and irresponsible, and but they were just like the life of the party, kind of like an otter. And then there was the lions, and they were way more into projects than they are into people, and you better get it done. And so they're very task oriented and productive. And then the golden retriever, and they were just loyal and soft and tender-hearted and loving and maybe lazy, and cuddly. Anyway, so those are the 4 types. Now, when I tested back then, in my 30s, I was mostly otter, and because I had my daughter and then I had my nieces around all the time and all the neighborhood kids, I've learned that when otters have to get it together and get shit done, they turn into lions. So then I was a lion otter. And then my pastor told me, if you're going to work in the ministry, you're going to have to get organized. So then I had to practice all those beaver qualities, of organization and structure. Anyway, so over the course of time, I have learned probably every single personality profiling system out there, and including 2 kinds of astrology, human design, gene keys, any system that I could get my hands on and get my brain wrapped around, that would help me understand who I am and who you are. And I think because I'm very relational and harmony is a big deal to me, and I just want everybody to get along and have fun. That's probably a little bit of a golden retriever trait too. I just like harmony. Even though I used to be kind of feisty and lionish, and I might have been a little lionish when I was a kid too, because I was always bossy and stuff. Oh, that could have been the beaver, But anyway, my pastor said, okay, the point is not to label ourselves. It's to see where our strengths are and utilize those strengths, and then try to practice some of the other qualities so that you're a little more balanced and you're able to do different things. For instance, if you're a lion beaver, you're probably kind of a hard person to deal with, because you not only want it done right now, you want it done right and right now. And so yikes. I mean, that'd be kind of a hard person to deal with at a party, So you'd want to be able to be a little bit more like an otter if you're at a party. And then, maybe a bit of a beaver too, so that you could at least help clean up or whatever, whatever people want to do at a party. It's always interesting now that I know a lot of that stuff, going to a place or even meeting another person and being able to I can tell what they are, And if I know about a person, like by having studied that stuff, I would better understand them. And when you understand people better, you're able to value their differences. And so I've had a lot of work around that my whole life. It's been a big deal to me. And I want to be able to help people communicate and get along and understand each other. It's just really important. And it's really important to start by understanding who you are. In human design, I might have talked about this in a different video, but in the human design chart, there are the 9 centers, 9 areas, kind of like chakras. They're based on the chakra system. Anyway, there's a one right in the middle, and it's called the identity center. And if that is undefined or open, you don't really have a very defined sense of self. You're not really sure who you are. You can pretty much be anything you want to be. And you can fit in anywhere. You're a little bit of a chameleon, but you're not really very solid on who you are, and maybe it might even be hard for some people to get a beat on you or to read you because you shift around so much depending on who you're with or what you're doing. Anyway, so yeah, and I have an undefined identity center. So the point is for that is with experience and time here on this earth, we eventually kind of color that in. We figure it out. And I have pretty much figured out who I am finally at this age. And when you know who you are and how you are and what your limitations are, maybe what the things you want to work on or strengthen, and I've learned that if you learn to use your strengths and appreciate your own strengths, don't concern yourself so much with the weaknesses or the shadows or whatever, because the more you focus on your strengths, the more it strengthens those other areas of your life where maybe you're not so strong. Anyway, I really feel like, I think because also in human design I'm line 5, and that's a person who's often misunderstood. They're misjudged, and it's people project onto them what they think they are. And so you walk around like, growing up, always feeling like I'm just not being known or seen for who I am. That sucks, because that's really probably one of the most important emotional needs in a human's life, is just to be seen and known. It feels good when people see us for who we really are, and you can tell they value that thing. And so when you're always misjudged and misunderstood, and people are expecting you to be something you're not, or they're misunderstanding your intentions or motives or whatever, that does not feel good. So most of them, and I think that's probably too one of the reasons why I wanted to figure all that out, is because not only do I want to be known, I want to learn how to know you. I want to be able to help you not only learn who you are, I want to know who you are. I want to be able to kind of fast track that, and so that we don't have, we don't have to reinvent the wheel and clunk along, in our relationships and not know exactly how to get along or whatever. So, maybe that's not real easy for some people. Anyway, so I thought I'd bring that up about the personality types. And I think my sister's here. Oh no, that's a different person. Anyway, so personality type. So let me know if you know anything about that stuff. I'm an ENFP in Myers-Briggs. In the Enneagram, I'm a 5. I think I have a 4 wing. And then my life path number in numerology is 9. Let's see, I've got there's a whole lot of things that I have learned about myself as far as all the labels go. So we can talk about that in more depth at some point or whatever, but put in the comments, like, what you are, like, what's your label, like, what are you in the Myers-Briggs? And there's a really good website called Truity, TRUITY.com, and I'll try to put a link in the notes below, and take those tests. They're kind of cool. There's also like the Big 5, and I scored like 79 in openness, but I only scored 19 in neuroticism, so I feel like I'm good. Anyway, all right, well, it was good to talk to you. Say whatever you want to say in the comments, but be nice if you can. All right, and then I'll talk to you soon. All right, thank you. Bye.